Hey y'all, welcome to Sinister 4x4 and Overland Adventures. Today we're going to do another video on the 1999 Jeep Grand Cherokee. Our last video we did a refurbish on the spring perches underneath that were completely rotted out, and today we're going to go ahead and get started installing our Rough Country 4-inch long arm lift kit, and hopefully it's not too much of a hassle, but I don't know, this is a new ground for me, so we're just going to do the best we can and hopefully we'll learn together. My name's Mark, by the way, and we got Jordan, my stepson, behind the camera if he wants to say hello.
Hi, how's it going?
All right, well, I guess we're gonna get the instructions and just go to the first page and get started.
Alrighty.
All right, so the first thing we're going to do is disconnect the front sway bar links, and we'll hit both sides and then we'll move on to the next step. We're going to need a 15 millimeter and also an 18 millimeter. So I'm going to go ahead and get that started. So next we're going to have to support the front axle, and we're going to end up taking out the shocks. So we'll just get that set there, and that's that. I'll just put them there anyway, just to be safe.
And don't forget, when you're doing this, there are some parts that will need to be put back on the truck, so don't forget to keep them in close range.
That's some of the existing hardware is used to reinstall some of the parts. Okay, so next we're gonna get busy with taking out these front shocks. As you can see, the shock mount is right there, and then you've got two down here on the lower. And just give me a second, I'll grab my tools and we'll So next, we're going to lower the axle so that we can remove the coil springs. This is a very temperamental jack. Well, I do believe we have a dilemma, folks.
Have gotten the sway bar links and the shocks out, and now we're looking to get springs out. Just easy as that. Good to go.
And if you look right here at these spring perches, these were totally rotted out. and I took some DOM and welded it back in place and solid so that we're able to keep our springs in place.
Yes. Much nicer that they can actually stay in place.
Very necessary considering the condition that they were in. Jordan. Hold on. A little more. Alright, got it. Okay, let's see what we got to do next here. It says to remove the stock lower control arm with a 21mm wrench in the socket and retain the factory hardware for reuse. All right, well, let's have at it. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and get started on taking this lower control arm off of the axle side, and from there we'll then move on and get the chassis side. For those of you that are lucky enough to have air tools, this job will probably be a lot easier.
A lot less manpower being in use there.
All right, there's that. This one is considerably tighter. Guys, that's not what you're supposed to do, hitting yourself in the nose with your tools. All right. Next step is to remove the upper control arms on the axle side. That's going to be a T50 Torx bit and an 18mm wrench, of which I can't find my 18mm wrench right now, so I'm just going to go ahead and use the big handy dandy crescent. And this hardware needs to be saved for the installation of the new control arms, so be sure to not lose it. This is one of the pieces of hardware I do know I need to retain.
And just in case you need to know, most of what comes off, like not the springs, but most of what comes off, you'll need to save the hardware, depending on what you're getting and installing. So just be sure to have most of it in all in one place. That way it's, and this is especially a big undertaking. Right now we're just doing the front end. The back end, we're gonna probably wait a little bit for that. Back end is a lot more in depth, and
the rear is gonna be another video.
Yeah. It's a lot more in depth, and we just don't frankly have the time for it at the moment. But it will be done. It's not just gonna sit there on the back burner. That is one of the main things that's gonna be done. So. And sadly, I won't be able to stay with you guys much longer. Probably another hour, 2 hours. I'll be going to work, sadly. So.
Boy, that bushing is shot.
Oh yeah?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that bushing there is quite messed up. Quite messed up.
But I am prepared and already have brand new bushings because I figured this would be the case.
Yeah, not looking good on that case. Eesh. Seen better ones, that's for sure.
You're stepping on the bolt or the nut.
Yeah. I don't imagine this one will be any better either, so I guess we'll see.
Actually,
That one's not as bad.
it's not good, but it ain't as bad. The other side is shot.
Well, that does what you need to know.
Unfortunately, y'all, we are not going to make the bushing swap part of this video. So when I go to do that, we're gonna quit filming and we'll come back in after those are changed and we're ready to do the install of the control arms. Alright, so I'm not sure why it was skipped in the instructions, but you have this plug right here. You gotta pull out, and there's a 13mm bolt back there and a flag nut on the back side. And you've got to take that out in order to be able to take the upper control arm out. So, oh Lord.
Hopefully the flag nut actually does its job. Last time on the other side it did, so.
If you reach behind it and you let the flag nut turn, there's a spot it'll stop on. And then after you get to that point, if you put pressure on the nut holding it against the frame, the bolt will back out and the nut will keep staying in place. But you've got to keep it flush against the frame. Otherwise, it's not going to do its job. Kind of a pretty important step is to remove this control arm. Oh no.
Speaking of, we just had an oopsie.
We've got a problem, Houston.
We lost the nut bolt.
No, we lost the 13mm socket.
Yeah, it fell down in there.
Oh boy.
Sticks the camera in there to look where it is.
Houston, we have a problem.
Yes.
So, just give me a second.
Well, seems like we're not going to rescue that one. It's just lost.
Well, no, we're going to rescue it, but we're going to have to run to the parts house and get a magnet that we can put a string on and fish it down in there to grab the socket and pull it back out.
Yeah.
That's a brand new socket from a brand new set. I'm not willing to lose it.
Yeah, it definitely helps to have tools when you need them. Especially in the rain like this, when you're doing big jobs. It really helps. That way you're not coming back and forth doing constant go get tool, have a tool. That bushing on that's not too bad. It could be worse.
All right, well, those are out.
Indeed.
Hey guys, welcome back to Sinister 4x4 and Overland Adventures. We're working on the 1999 Jeep Grand Cherokee, and we're dealing with a common issue that we have in these Jeeps, and that's the upper control arm axle bushings. If you take a look down here, you can see how bad off this axle bushing is, and this one right here as well. They're a hard thing to take out without compressed air and a chisel, but today we're going to try something different. We're going to take the old Sawzall and reach into the center and cut through the rubber bushing where the center piece came out, and then we're going to try and cut straight through the case, maybe make 2 slices and collapse the outside of the bushing and knock it out. Cut. Try and see if I can't slice some of this. Move this thing.
You might have to get under there.
Yeah, but okay.
How yummy that smells.
Huh?
How yummy that smells.
Oh, I know.
Already.
So the next part is to take a 10mm socket, and if you can see these brake lines and speed sensor line right here, you've got to undo the bracket on the frame, because beyond that, we're at that point of no return where we cut this control arm mount off, and something tells me that's going to be a hell of a job. But anyway, so I'm going to get under here and take that off, and then find something to hold it up while we do some cutting. And I'll put my safety glasses on while I'm underneath.
Getting dirty? No, don't get dirty. Don't be getting dirty now.
A little bit tough getting your fingers in there when you got gloves on.
Mm-hmm. I must say, this really hasn't been too hard getting all this out. It's just been a little time consuming.
Alright. I'm going to reinstall the bolt back in that hole so as not to get lost. And we're going to... I'm taking the brake line and I'm going to reposition it for the moment behind the upper control arm frame side mount to keep it out of the way while I do this cutting. And hopefully that... Am I the only one in the world that has ratchets that seem to change direction on you all of their own accord, or do y'all's ratchets do that too?
I don't know, it seems to happen pretty often with us, so.
Leave a comment if your ratchets have a mind of their own as well.
How many of you young people out there are ready for summer? I tell you, I'm ready, but I also have work, so you know, seems to just keep on going. The way of the adult. You better not be getting dirty. Okay.
Alright, there's also a plug there that holds the other side of this setup in place. What did I do? There we go. Be sure that before you go to cut these mounts off that you've got everything out of the way. The last thing you want to do is cut through something that you need.
Yeah, especially that.
Alright y'all, this is where it finally gets exciting.